Well, it's another big footprint for the Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport, adding JetBlue flights for the first time in Bozeman history.
And chronic wasting disease found in some unexpected parts of the state. Coming up, what's being done to try and manage the disease and educate hunters. Good morning.
Just ahead of 6:30, that's our first escalator tease we've ever had here on Montana this morning. Cody Boyer breaking new ground for us.
I saw that, yeah, and I thought, careful, careful.
That's it.
You did well.
The old days, remember when we had cables, there's no possible way we could have done that with wireless
well,
technology.
That's right, right. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
How's your Friday going so far? Are you getting after it and getting ready for a weekend?
And depending on where you live, you might want to look out your window, and if you're planning to travel, you might want to give yourself a little extra time. Winter weather advisory in effect until 5 this evening for the purple shaded areas, basically southwest Montana, and it's currently snowing in Butte, so be ready for that. Here's what the temperatures look like outside right now. We're talking about really kind of a mixed bag. Those are basically going to be the warmest temperatures we're going to see today for us here in southwest Montana. This system's going to push through, bringing a little breezy conditions, some snowflakes, and then some cooler temperatures for the next day or so. But things will change as we get into the first part of next week. Have all of the details of all of that, Donna, coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right. Thank you, Chet. We'll stick around for that. A major announcement from Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport. MTN's Cody Boyer reports it's a game changer.
Now, the announcement brings JetBlue here for the first time in Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport history. Not only that, according to the director here, that increases their footprint across the entire nation.
We're really batting above our average, so to speak.
To Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport Director Brian Spranger, it's a hit over the fences.
Anytime that we can establish service to one of our top destinations, it's just a really big deal for an airport.
Spranger says the airport will now be connected nonstop summer and winter to New York's JFK Airport and Boston, two major hubs near the top of the airport's goal list.
To do two of those destinations simultaneously is extremely rare.
The announcements come after an already positive year. To put it to perspective, the airport channeled 1.57 million passengers last year, an increase of about 17.3% from 2018, with increases seen over the 3 years before that. With the addition of JetBlue, Spranger says that will keep gaining altitude.
We're projecting our available seats to be more in the first 9 months than all of 2019.
And with two new stops come two new advantages.
The airports ahead of us, immediately ahead of us, are Colorado Springs, Spokane, and Boise. Not one of those three airports has airline service to the New York area or Boston.
And as Gallatin County grows in population, both the Bozeman Chamber of Commerce and Yellowstone Clubs say this is a flight in the right direction.
The community has all come together, both down here in the valley and up on the mountain, to make this happen.
Again, all of these flights from JetBlue to Boston and New York begin in June. You can find more information on our website. At the Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Airport officials add it might be a few years before Boston would become a daily flight, and it might be at least a year before the airport sees an expansion of this magnitude again. A Bozeman man was back in court this week accused of being caught smoking meth while his friend was meeting with a probation officer. According to court documents, Bozeman police say they were meeting with a man named Tanner Wood when 20-year-old Andrew Ewalt sent him a video using Snapchat. Officers say the video message showed Ewalt smoking meth with a glass pipe. The catch, an officer was hand searching Wood's phone and saw the message first.
I think the state has pretty significant concerns about his ability to comply with court orders and his fairly recent significant criminal history, given that he's only 20 years old. This court may remember that he was initially charged with a robbery offense last year related to striking a woman, I think in her 60s, over soil.
Ewalt's bail is set at $15,000. Police have arrested a Butte man accused of trying to run over police officers while he was driving a stolen vehicle. Christopher Merez is accused of stealing a vehicle just before midnight and leading police on a chase through town. Police cornered him in the Hamblin Heights neighborhood where he rammed one of the police cars before becoming stuck and captured after a brief foot chase. He faces felony counts of assaulting a police officer and motor vehicle theft. And an update for you on 6-year-old Jordana Hubble. She was struck by a vehicle after a driver failed to yield to the side stop sign on a school bus. Family members have confirmed to MTN News that Jordana has been accepted into the Coma Emergence Program in Houston. Jordana and family members leave for Houston on Monday, and the family tells us that Jordana remains in critical condition but is breathing on her own. Multiple fundraisers throughout the Flathead Valley have raised money for Jordana's medical expenses. Charges have yet to be filed for the driver who hit Jordana, pending toxicology results. Chronic wasting disease, an always fatal disease that affects the nervous systems of deer, elk, and moose, was first confirmed in Montana in 2017. Well, on Monday, state officials heard testimony from CWD experts who shared their advice on managing the disease. MTN's John Riley has our report.
On Monday, the Montana Environmental Quality Council heard testimony from chronic wasting disease experts from Wyoming and Colorado who shared their advice on managing the prion disease. Dr. Mike Miller with Colorado Division of Wildlife has been studying CWD for the past 35 years and encourages Montana to continue to have an active approach towards its management.
There was about a 10-plus year period when we really de-emphasized our attention on chronic wasting disease. We looked away, and that was probably one of the more serious mistakes that we made, because it turns out the disease doesn't go away. It doesn't stop doing what it's doing, and you ignoring it doesn't make it any better.
Wyoming Game and Fish Department disease specialist Hank Edwards warns that CWD can have big impacts on game population and health when it isn't managed correctly.
CWD negative herds may bounce back very quickly, where CWD positive herds may linger on for much, much longer at low population.
Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks also gave the council an update on the state's current response to CWD, saying the state found the disease in places they didn't expect, which means they need to assume the disease is more widely distributed and work on getting that message out to more hunters.
We find that we're still having a hard time getting through to hunters. There's a lot of hunters that you talk to at check stations and things, and they said, what's CWD? Never heard about it.
Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
FWP also says they're working to update the CWD management plan to incorporate what they've learned over the past years and from experts abroad. Fish, Wildlife and Parks making some changes to its hunting and fishing licenses. One of the big changes, licenses and carcass tags will now be printed on normal-sized paper, and you can actually print your own license and carcass tags from home. FWP says the switch to standard paper will save money and make things easier for customers. Also, hunters applying for licenses or permits will be able to do so online or at an FWP office. We're about 2 weeks away from companies no longer being able to sell some flavored e-cigarette products, but advocates trying to stop youth vaping say the new rule did not go far enough. It does not include disposable flavored e-cigarettes, flavored fillable liquid nicotine, or any menthol products.
And what we know is that children will go to whatever flavor's out there. If they take off all the other flavors, they will go to the menthol. A menthol actually soothes the flavor of the e-cigarettes, so it actually makes it easier to vape.
The American Academy of Pediatrics and the group Parents Against Vaping E-Cigarettes are working together to try and push the government to do more. They plan to continue gathering data to show that kids may move on to other non-banned e-cigarette products.
We were at FDA yesterday and explained that while there are not yet studies that show this, we know anecdotally, because we speak to parents all across the country, that the disposables, that's what kids have been using now.
Anti-vaping advocates are also closely watching what will happen in May. That's when all e-cigarette product makers are supposed to meet tougher FDA regulations in order to keep selling. Well, she made it to the bigs. Still ahead, the groundbreaking coach in Major League Baseball. And let's check in to see what's on deck for CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we're also tracking this weekend's winter storm. Plus, the Department of Defense now says U.S. service members were injured during Iran's missile attacks on bases in Iraq. National security correspondent David Martin has new details. Also, Democratic presidential hopeful Amy Klobuchar, she'll be here in Studio 57, how the senator plans to keep campaigning while serving as a juror in President Trump's impeachment trial. And we head into the recording studio with Songwriters Hall of Fame inductees Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo. Hear a sample of their new music. We'll see you at 7.